Hello, welcome to Rookie Season. Episode 1, we are looking at the Chicago Blackhawks versus the Florida Panthers. I'm Andy, aka The Rookie. This is Steve.
The
How
pro,
you doing?
apparently.
The pro. Dr. Hockey himself.
We're going to find out.
Yeah. Well, before we get into the match, let's just sort of explain what we're doing here. So I'm a complete newbie to hockey. I've been to a couple of Manchester Storm games with you. That's like our local team here in the UK. Other than that, never really watched it, never really got into it. You've been into it quite a while, right?
Probably like 25 years.
Right, long time.
Give or take. Long time.
How did you get into it?
The golden question. My oldest hockey memory is my brother taking me to a Manchester Storm game at the 9X Arena back in I think it was the Super League back then. That's my oldest memory from there. Just absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And I quickly found out that Channel 5, about 3 a.m, used to play hockey games at the weekend.
The NHL ones?
NHL games, yeah. You never knew which one you were going to get. But I'd typically stay up and watch them or try and record them. And it just kind of spitballed from there. Nice. Met a guy in high school who also had a passion for ice hockey. And then literally just went full blown.
Brilliant. Good stuff. If you can't tell already, we're not from the US, we're not from Canada, we're from Manchester in the UK, so it's obviously never been popular here. I'd say even compared to other American sports, it's never had its kind of...
No, it doesn't get its flowers that it deserves.
Like, because, everyone will know at least a few guys who are into NFL, NBA, like NFL especially, that's really blown up. Like, we have Wembley games at Wembley, and... I think the NBA have as well. I'm pretty sure. Like,
even MLB kind of surpasses NHL. It's something
really
that on their game coverage talk shows they reluctantly talk about anything NHL. It's
what's that on?
On American stations,
right?
Yeah, it's when they're covering a lot of the games from either the weekend or the evening, they'll reluctantly here or there.
Bit of an afterthought.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
There was a guy, I can't remember what his name was, but he openly said, we don't talk about hockey on this station.
Right.
So
why hasn't it taken off here? Why is it compared to... Because I imagine the obvious answer would be, there's not a lot of ice rinks. It's not really the right climate for it, but it isn't really in Germany or Czech Republic, and it's quite popular there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if Florida can have 2 professional ice hockey teams, then you would think that other places around the world would be able to have them.
Is it just pure competition, with the Premier League?
Well, in the UK, it's dominated by football. There's no second. I mean, what would you say?
That's soccer for
soccer.
International.
What would you say is the second sport in the UK? Cricket.
Rugby.
Rugby? Would you put rugby in
maybe.
There?
Yeah. Cricket. I don't know a lot of people who play cricket.
No, I don't know.
But it's seen as it's the quintessential British game.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of participation numbers, it's probably golf or something like that, really. In terms of, I think I read it was the second most in terms of participants, but I might be completely wrong on that. But it's. I mean, hockey's well down the list on that.
Yeah, it's coverage. There's no channels that you can get UK ice hockey on.
Yeah.
I believe Premier Sports you can get if it was like an international game, because I remember messaging you last season. It was like UK versus Japan.
Yeah.
The game everybody in the world wanted to watch, obviously.
Yeah, the big one.
The big one. There's just no coverage, even with teams like Manchester Storm. If you do want to catch the game, I feel like to purchase the game on their website is £15 or £20, and for the sake of what a ticket would cost, you may as well just go to the game.
Exactly, and also you pay that. That's pretty much the monthly subscription for the NHL product as well, and for the standard, it's night and day, isn't it?
I mean, how much would you pay for a city ticket?
I had a season ticket. I've just given it up this year, but I'll come on to that later. I used to pay about $450, $500 a season, so that's 19 games, and I think City were one of the cheapest in the league. So that works out. I think it works out about £25 a game, but if you were going to those games individually, it's 40, 50, 60 quid now. So I can see why, comparatively, people are looking for elsewhere. So maybe it will grow in popularity.
The prices are definitely rising. I think more eyes are on UK ice hockey than ever, and that's natural. That's the progression of stuff.
Yeah.
It is coming more to the forefront.
Yeah.
But we need more people to talk about it.
Exactly. And I don't know of any other sort of UK ice hockey podcast. Is it just sort of the individual clubs would have one?
Yeah.
But just kind of a general one. I'm not sure. There probably is some out there. But yeah, I did read in the most bizarre article I've ever read in my fucking life. If you haven't read it, just search Financial Times, which is it's like a business newspaper in the UK. Financial Times hockey. In amongst that though, there was a stat that I think attendance at UK hockey has grown 75% since 2010. Mm-hmm. So it's on the up. It's going to get there. Like I said, they don't have a proper TV deal, I don't think. It's not on Sky. It's not on TNT. It's but I think that kind of traditional deal's dead anyway, really. Think about like everything is going onto streaming platforms,
services, aren't they?
So this might be the time. This might be perfect time for it to take off.
Definitely. Yeah. When you mentioned the article, I thought you were going to go with the romanticism of ice hockey.
Oh no!
Too early.
We could do a whole of it. Look, honestly, if you can find it, I'm not sure any international listeners could read. I'm not sure if it's just what you could like geo-locked.
Yeah,
but just Google Financial Times ice hockey and it'll be there. It's just some of the most bizarre shit I've ever heard.
Apparently people turn up to hockey games to see the players before the game gyrate on the floor.
That's the one, yeah.
So I didn't know that, but hey, you learn something new every day.
Well, that's why I'm getting into it this year. But yeah, so why am I getting into it this year? So like I said, I've only ever really been into football, soccer. I need to broaden my horizons a bit. I used to have a season ticket at Manchester City, and also I've kind of fell out of love with it. So I need something to fill the void. Yeah. Now, you obviously you've been trying a few years to try and get me on board.
Yeah.
I thought this year, I'll do it, and we might as well document it along the way. So that's the plan.
This is history right here.
Yeah, exactly. It's day 1, hour 0. So what we're going to do, we're going to pick an NHL game of the week every week.
Yeah.
We're going to watch it. You're going to probably provide some kind of analysis on it. I'm going to ask some questions. Obviously, as the weeks go on, I'll learn a bit more and more and more. I don't want it to turn into like a complete lecture just from you. Like, these are the rules of this is the rules of that. We'll try and just focus on one specific rule each week, if that's all right. Because
I feel like I'm getting grilled here.
Well, this is the thing this is my point. It's like, it's just going to become a lesson, isn't it? Like, and there's 1,000 rules, isn't there? So what we'd do before we get into this specific match is icing. Now, I've looked it up. I've kind of understand it. It's basically a way of stopping teams just launching the puck to the other end of the
in a
ring.
nutshell. Yeah. So you're clearing the puck out of your defensive zone into the opponent's offensive zone.
Yeah. Right. So, but what exactly is it like? When does it become icing and when is it not? Does it have to pass their goal liners?
So anything over the blue line. So
is the blue line the blue line the one?
The blue line is the line that you cross going into the opponent's offensive zone.
Okay.
There's 2 blue lines. So there's the red line at centre ice.
So that is between the halfway line and their goal line.
Yes.
The 2 blue lines. Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So if a defender would clear the puck, if they're under heavy pressure, then both teams would typically chase the puck, usually one man on each. If the defending team who hit it can get to the puck before the opposition, then play can resume.
Yeah.
If the other team will either get to it or it looks like they're going to get to it, the ref will blow the whistle early, and then the following face-off will be back in the team who iced its defensive zone. Right. Okay.
The defensive zone is the zone near their goal.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. In more recent years, the ref has started blowing the whistle earlier before both players get to the puck, because as soon as a player gets to that puck, they have a split second to turn. If they don't get out of the way, they're going to get crushed. They're going to get blindsided. Right. And that'll take a lot of people out of the game. People can miss seasons from things like that.
Yeah.
So the refs will usually err on the side of caution. And if it looks like they're going to get to the puck, they would blow the whistle.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Right, good stuff. So Chicago Blackhawks versus the Florida Panthers. This was opening game of the regular season, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Florida Panthers defending champions. That's two times in a row.
Yeah, they're looking for a three-peat this season in arguably the hardest league that it's going to be.
Right. Why is that?
Just the bar's been raised. Competition. Their main rival was the Tampa Bay Lightning, who themselves were on course for a three-peat until they got dethroned by the Colorado. I think that was back in I think that was the 21-22 season.
Right.
I'm almost sure it was.
Has anyone done the three-peat before?
So 4 teams have completed the three-peat, which has been... 5. So Montreal twice, Toronto twice, and the New York Islanders. I feel like the New York Islanders did it 4 times.
Right. And is that? I'm guessing that's the record.
Yeah, you would imagine so. Yeah.
So talk to me about Barkov. Because he's out for...
Yeah.
From the broadcast I've watched, that seems to be their star player.
Yeah.
He's going to be out for the whole regular season.
So he's going to be out with an MCL, ACL.
Right.
Yeah, injury. They do project that he's going to be back between April and June.
Yeah.
Highly unlikely.
You don't think he'll be back by then, right?
Around that time when the playoffs are going to be starting, around May, he's not. There's going to be a lot of rust that he'll need to knock off. Just dropping straight back into the lineup. And remember, if Florida do make it deep into the playoffs, which is a big if, the team that they're going to be currently playing with, they're going to adapt to each other. So then throw in somebody else. So no matter how good the player is, it'll change up the dynamic. And hockey players are extremely superstitious. The coaching staff as well. So if they're onto a good run, they're not going to change anything.
Right.
Deep into the playoffs, it's not crazy for hockey players to wear the same pair of underwear throughout the whole series. Yeah. I assume they wash it in between games, but
under all that armor and
you could probably smell it. You probably smell it out of your closet.
What about the Blackhawks? Because I did see a stat on the second youngest team in the league. So obviously, you've seen the match. They were 19 shots on goal compared to Florida's 37, and yet it was only a 3-2 game. I should probably mention the score. Florida won 3-2. It's is that something they're going to be able to sustain at that level? So obviously, their goalie, Knight, he played amazing. He kept them in it pretty much most of the game. Obviously, that was always going to fail eventually. But are they looking a bit ropey already? Is that something that...
So obviously... Last night, knowing that we were going to do the podcast today, I already started writing pre-notes. I wanted to give projected winner, projected, who's going to finish last, who'll just make it in, wild card, etc.
Yeah.
I wrote down Chicago Blackhawks would finish last again.
Last in the
whole NHL.
Right.
Yeah.
But talk to me about the conferences, because obviously this is... 2 conferences, right? Or 4?
There's 2 conferences, so that we've got an East and a West Coast.
Right.
16 teams in each. Currently, with the expansion, there's 32 teams now in the NHL. Since adding the Seattle Kraken and the Utah Mammoth. Okay. Formerly the Utah Hockey Club.
Oh, yeah.
And within the 2 conferences, there's also 2 divisions. So over in the East, we have the Metropolitan and the Atlantic.
Right.
And over in the West, we have the Pacific and the Central.
Right. Okay. And it's a league format?
League format, 82 games.
Okay. So I'm guessing how many from each conference go through to the playoffs? 8. Now, is that the top 8 in that entire East or West, or is it the 2 from those subdivisions, that you said before?
Do you mean the wild card?
No, not the wild, because you said within the West there's the... within the East there was the Metropolitan division.
Yeah, so 4 would go through from each.
Right.
Basically. I'm pretty sure that on the 8... We'll get into... I feel like the wild card
What I'm trying to say is, for example, the Metropolitan... Was that the
Metropolitan division? Yeah.
Say that's 4 teams.
No. So the Metropolitan has 7 teams. So I feel like that's 2 New York teams, New Jersey, Buffalo,
so
Pittsburgh.
Let's say
Columbus.
hypothetically, 6 of those 7 teams have better records than most of the other division. Will all 7 of them go through, or is it so that you can literally you go through? Can you go out, but still having a worse record than another team in your conference? Yeah. Right, so it's a lot of jeopardy there. That's what I do enjoy about it. It is like, even though it is a league format, it does kind of have that knockout feel about it. You have to just win as much as you can, which is a stupid, obvious thing to say.
The only games that you are, I wouldn't say you feel comfortable in losing, because you're definitely not. You get 2 points for each win. Yeah. If you lose in overtime, you do get a point, which is why I think it would have been great if Chicago could have maybe just held the Panthers.
So no draws then, I'm guessing.
No draws. No. Okay. So at the end of the third period, if we're tied, we'll go to a 5-minute 3-on-3 OT. After that, we'll go to a shootout. Okay. Yeah. Right. So no draws.
No. Blackhawks, I thought they kind of held their own until sort of, I'd say, till midway through the third period. I keep wanting to call it quarter period. And then they just kind of lost momentum. Yeah. Like, what was it? Was it because they're very pacey. From what I could see, they looked so
they were fast. They were undersized.
If
you saw the size of the Panthers team, it was men. It was like men against boys.
This is like they're the second youngest in the league, I think they said.
Yeah, definitely. I did have worries that they were going to not be able to keep the intensity up for the full 3 periods, which you did see, especially going into the last 5 minutes. One of the takeaways that I had from it is if they can remain confident and if they can stay in the hunt for all 3 periods, despite what I wrote down last night, I think they'd be just fine.
Right. The Blackhawks, well, yeah.
I can't imagine they'll be getting playoffs anytime in the next 2-3 years. Yeah. But they're basically in the battle against San Jose for who's going to finish last. Which has been the case for the last definitely last season and the season before.
Okay. The NHL, does it have the same college draft system like the NFL and the NBA does, where obviously you can have a extremely poor season and land the next big star?
It does. So that's exactly what happened with Chicago. So Connor Bedard, you saw him yesterday. Yeah. So he's supposed to be the next great thing in hockey. Okay. The ones that came before him, there's been a couple, but during my time, the 2 most special players of my generation have been Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin, who are both in their 21st season this year. Okay, yeah. So Sidney
Crosby, I've heard that name. So he must be, obviously, because that transcends hockey then.
For me,
before this season, I've never kind of watched it, but I do know that name.
For me, he's the GOAT. Yeah. You know, it's a toss-up.
Better than Gretzky. Again, the only other name I would know.
Yeah, and the only reason I say that is just because if you look at the quality and the things that players can do now, this is going to be such an unpopular take. Yeah. How well would Gretzky do in today's NHL? He is an undersized player. There's every bit of potential that he would adapt to today's game and be even greater than he was. Gretzky was amazing for the time. He was 10 years ahead of what hockey was producing at the time. Now, Sid the Kid, he's just my all-time GOAT. I think it'll take another 20, 30 years for someone to then surpass him. But anyway, Connor Bedard is the next big thing. He went first in the draft to the Hawks. Yeah. Usually a rookie will have a breakout season in at least the second season, which was last year. Didn't really see that from him. They're hoping that it's just he's packed on a little bit more size going into this season. So they're hoping to have a little bit extra luck with him. But admittedly, the game that I saw with Knight today, that was my first experience watching Knight in net. And I think if they can keep him healthy, and if he can stay out of his own head and remain confident, I really
does he have a bit of history of losing his head?
He's on a losing record, but you're going to be playing for the Blackhawks. Like Again, I don't know whether they picked him up late last year or this year before the season, but
I think they're going from Florida. From what I remember, the commentators.
I must have missed that, right?
Yeah, obviously this could be a complete.
It could be.
Yeah. Blackhawks as well. Their badge How do they get away with it?
I don't know, but I love.
Because I'm gonna say like the red skit, because obviously it's a Native American chief. It's such a good badge.
Yeah.
Loved it. The Cleveland Indians and the Washington Redskins both had to change.
The Commanders
so,
and
the Commanders
Guardians.
and something like that. Yeah. How they slip through the net?
No idea. I did do a Google search on that when I was actually interested.
Yeah, that's what I did today. I was thinking like, Cleveland. I'm sure the Cleveland Indians are a team. Have I made that up? I googled it and they have changed the name since. So I thought,
I think the National Hockey League in Chicago in general, they're just not woke about it. They don't get it. And I respect that. They just don't get it.
That's the kind of vibe I get from it. It's not a I'm not saying it's like a rednecks kind of thing, because obviously it's just, but it is more, it's not kind of what you'd associate with sort of left-leaning liberal kind of fans and that. It's beer drinking toothless Canadian.
For the most part.
That's the stereotype in America anyway. Like, here, what's the stereotypical hockey fan here?
Oh God! Well, you can smell them if you go to a game.
Fat goths, monster drinking, beer-ridden fat goths, and me.
So what was your takeaway from the game? What did you?
Like I said, obviously looking at this from someone who's other than obviously watching a couple of games, Manchester Storm games, obviously far lower standard than the NHL. The speed, it's incredible. Obviously, you said they were a particularly fast team anyway, the Blackhawks. But like trying to keep your eye on that puck, that's just something I think. The more I watch, you kind of I'm going to have to. You'll anticipate time. Where that puck's going to be.
Definitely. At first, I can see how a lot of newcomers to the game can be a little bit all over the show. You don't know what you're supposed to watch, whether you're supposed to watch the players, the puck, and then you find the balance. You kind of find that flow state when you're watching it. You know where the puck is at all times.
A lot of learning curves, not just kind of the rules, but kind of the culture, the stoppages. That's something as a soccer fan I'm just not used to, and I don't even really understand a lot of them, because I get if there's a foul, end of the period. Sometimes it will be like a foul right in the middle of the period, and then they'll go straight to is it face-off? Yeah. Yeah. And then sometimes they won't. Sometimes they'll just go off for 2 minutes and show a load of adverts. Is it particular stoppages that require?
That's just pure advertising.
Is that just the broadcaster?
So the broadcast that we watched it on, obviously we streamed it off DAZN. But the broadcast from what I saw was on ESPN. So that's just an advertising deal that they'll have. There's kind of no real reason when they would do it. Right. Yeah.
So they do have a very slack attitude to the timekeeper. I've noticed like it would say on the NHL app, face-off is 10 o'clock. It's about 15:15 by the time they actually got around to it.
Well, you stayed up there. What did you do? Watch half of the game?
I stayed up and watched the first period, and then I watched the second and third this morning. But yeah, overall, I did really enjoy it. Because I know I'm doing a podcast, and I've got to watch it with a bit more intent. There's just there's like a newfound appreciation for it. Like I'm trying to look at little things. I'm trying to learn why he's doing that certain thing. I'm going to assume, like with soccer, certain teams have certain styles. Yeah. So what would be? Because obviously the Panthers, 2 Stanley Cups in a row. What is their style and why has that been successful?
Brutalise the opponent.
Are they the
they've
rough
won it
handling
through,
kind
they've
of?
won it through blood and guts.
They've
got star players. But they're kind of like it was Philadelphia, the Broad Street Bullies back in I think that was the 70s. Right. It was before I was born, so if I get that wrong, I'm completely sorry. But when championships used to be won through sheer aggression and fighting. Yeah, enforcers, right?
Yeah,
you're a fan of the film.
I've seen the Goon.
Very true to form. So championships are won from tough guys. Yeah. Your power forwards. There was a moment that I absolutely loved. It wasn't last year, it was the year before, Panthers versus Oilers in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup final. And Kachuk had McDavid, who is their star
Yeah.
He had him up against the board, and I have to paraphrase this, but he said, "Let's see what you got, huh, you little fuck," and it was just perfect. Like it was brilliant.
Yeah,
So
there
I
is
love stuff like that.
coming on to that conflict, the fights.
Yeah,
that's something that you just do not have in any other sport, really.
No,
boxing aside.
Yeah,
but like, so it is still a penalty, isn't it? Obviously, after a fight.
Yes, you're going to get a 5-minute major.
Yeah. What I didn't notice though was it was Gray and I can't remember the other guy's name. They had a fight sort of just at the end, towards the end of the first period. One of them goes down, the refs kind of split it up. They both go up to their penalty box.
It's Foligno. It was Foligno and AJ Gray. Yeah.
Towards the end of the game, another fight sort of breaks out. They're grabbing each other's and then all the players surround them and just pull them apart. Yeah. And it's like, so why have they kind of chose to split that one up and stop it?
Was that around the net?
It was around the net.
So around the net.
I think someone might have been down, injured.
Yeah, so I know where you're talking about. I think that was where it wasn't Lundqvist. Was it where the puck went up into the visor?
May have been, yeah. But this is another thing I wanted to talk about. If you carry on your point, because obviously, as this new fan, I'm going to have a million questions. So that's why I don't want to just combine you. Why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? But yeah, if you
and I will try my best to answer. Typically, skirmishes that happen around the goal are broken up quite quickly.
Yeah.
Once the whistle has gone, especially if they're in the goaltender's crease, players from the goaltender's team will come over and they will push the other players out of the crease.
Okay.
No real reason. It's mental warfare. We control this. This is our house.
It's just
Yeah, so typically you'll see them all grab onto each other. It'll either diffuse itself. If there's like a little bit of a rivalry, it will stay more heated to the point where the officials then have to come in and break it up.
Right.
The honour of a hockey fight is, if you notice, so Foligno and Gray were talking before the gloves were dropped.
It was very... Foligno, it was almost polite in a way.
It was fisticuffs.
Yeah, fisticuffs. Put him up. Queensbury rules.
How do you fancy it? Foligno dropped the gloves, and there was 2-3 seconds where Gray didn't. Yeah. And Foligno didn't attack him during that time. As soon as Gray did drop the gloves, it was on. Both of them latched onto each other's jersey. I'm sure you noticed the arm that you used to grab the jersey. That was what he was like, kind of jabbing him with. Yeah. Before setting up for the big cross. Yeah. And the uppercuts.
Well, that seems to be most of the hockey fights I've seen. It's one hand on the jersey. Yeah. And then just hoping you'll land like that, and then
it's the Happy Gilmore fight.
One of them will just kind of drag them to the floor, and then it'll be done.
And then it'll be over. But I'm almost sure I saw this in the fight earlier, and it is so typical. They will either say something to each other, or they'll give each other a tap just to say good knock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. That's what I absolutely love. About.
Well, the benches were all tapping the sticks on it. It's just kind of G-ing things all over.
It's they've looked at there's a documentary called Ice Guardians, and it's from this game. They did studies that games around Europe where enforcers were banned, and in some leagues fighting is banned.
In European leagues, right.
And what they noticed was that star players were getting more frequently injured because the other team was taking liberties on them
because they didn't
trying to injure, because there's nothing to answer for. There's no tough guy on the other team who's going to call you out. The worst you're going to get is a 5-minute penalty.
And if you're taking out their best player, it's worth it.
It's not even taking them out for the game. If you look at what hockey players go through, man, you can end someone's season without it looking that much like what you've done to them.
Wow, mad. You are a Canucks fan, right? Vancouver.
Vancouver for my sins.
Why then?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think my best guess would be... So I used to have NHL 94 for the... I think it was like the Sega, something like that.
The Mega Drive here, the Genesis.
Yeah, so I was playing that as a kid, and I was going through all of the teams in Vancouver.
Was it the the double game with Madden.
Oh God, I don't know.
I used to have that as well. I definitely had an NHL game, and it was like a double header with Madden 94, 95. It was around then.
Yeah. I can't remember. I think Vancouver was the only team, well, other than the Ducks, that I reckon. In fact, do you know what? The Ducks were even in the NHL then. Vancouver was the only team that I recognised, and it's from a film called Mallrats. Have you seen that?
Mallrats, yeah, Kevin Smith, yeah.
Yeah, so who plays Brody? He was, My Name is Earl.
Oh, Jason Lee.
Yeah. So he's in bed with his girlfriend, and he wakes up and he starts like scrambling around looking for his controller.
Right.
And she's like, "Oh my God, really? You're going to play the game from last night?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hartford, the Whaler, they beat Vancouver once, maybe twice in a lifetime." And it's something just triggered in you.
Yeah,
and I was like,
can
I know
come
that
from that
team.
though,
They must be good.
Yeah,
they must be good if they can
especially
beat Hartford.
for obviously international fans, like. Because obviously you're not from Vancouver, so you're not going to the whole I'll support my local club.
Yeah.
That's not a possibility. No. So it can be something as trivial as that, or
I think if we're calling it the way that it is, most people will follow a team because in American and Canadian sports they have cool last names.
Yeah,
in the UK it's a little bit cookie cutter, isn't it? Man United, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham Hotspur, whatever the hell that means. In the NHL, it's the Bruins, the Red Wings, Canucks, Maple Leafs, Predators.
Right. Do you find people are more likely to support, like you said, even Americans and Canadians, the cool team or the most successful team at the time rather than the local team?
Yeah.
Does that happen more there than here? Obviously here we have people from all over the country who support Man United and Liverpool, Arsenal, and they can be from anywhere.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like, this is just an observation, I feel like in the US it's just a bit of a free for all. Like literally you can be from LA and support the Rangers, you can be from Florida and support, the Kings or whatever.
Yeah, I like teams that are synonymous with winning are teams like, the New York Rangers. You mentioned the LA Kings, Toronto. People do jump on them, and I kind of respect that in a way. If you're,
I don't.
If you're a kid growing up and your dad is watching a certain team because that's my team, I used to watch them back when the league was 8 teams.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't get on board with it. I just like if you are from a place where there is no local NHL team, fair enough. I think if you are from a city with an NHL team, support your local NHL.
I agree.
If your dad, if your father, your parents, your mother, or grandfather, whatever, is from another place and that's who they support, fair enough. But if you're not, then just support your local team.
No, I do agree with that.
Which I'm going to be a complete hypocrite because obviously throughout the course of this season, I'm trying to find my team, and I'm not from any of those places.
But that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair though. You're on a.
What's the nearest team here geographically?
Oh my God!
Boston,
what, from the
Boston,
NHL?
Boston, maybe.
I have no idea. I do have a feeling that's probably which way you're going to lean. To be
because of the
honest.
Happy Gilmore jersey.
Yeah,
I do love that colour scheme, the black and yellow.
I really thought last season was your season when the Utah were just hockey club. I really thought
I remember you showing me that. I just thought it was because it stood out from the rest of the teams. I know you said like the other teams are kind of maybe over here because every team is Manchester United, Newcastle United, Manchester City. There, every other team is
an animal
or something like that. So like just to have that classy like Utah hockey club and the jerseys, it was just proper clean.
Well, I think you were hoping that they weren't going to change it, but
I didn't know they were.
They're going with that for years.
I mean, I'm not saying they would have become my team anyway, because I mean, Utah is not like.
Well, you were down with the Mormons, right?
It's got that kind of rep, hasn't it? It's not like a cool place, but I mean, I'd happily go.
Right?
Yeah,
Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds cool in itself. Even instead of going as Utah, I guess you could have gone as the Salt
Lake. Yeah. Why Mammoth? Do you know?
It's quite mountainous, isn't it?
Is that what it is? Obviously, Ice Age.
So you know what I'd say? Their logo for me, and God, I sound like such a bandwagoner saying this, is the coolest logo going right
The
now.
mammoth one?
The mammoth.
Right.
Because if you look at it just on plain sight, it is the mammoth.
Yeah.
But then when you see all of the arcs at the top, it's mountainous range.
Right, okay.
So it's kind of like a 2-in-1.
Yeah.
And another logo that I'd never really took much stock in, I knew it was cool, was the Minnesota Wild. If you really look into that, it's got everything in there.
I'm not familiar with them.
No,
I'll
show you after the podcast. And for all the thousands of listeners that we've got out there, I urge you, go and take a look at the Minnesota Wild logo.
What we will aim to do as well, obviously this week we're looking at the Blackhawks and the Panthers. We're going to try and at least show every team, aren't we, at some point? Because obviously, and obviously get in touch. Tell me why I should become a Flyers fan or a Bruins fan or whatever. Because obviously I'm going to find a team this year. Because obviously I've been flirting with it. End of last season.
It's time to take the jump.
It's time to take the plunge. Commit. But another thing I did want to ask. We'll go back to the actual game now. We'll talk some relevant ice hockey. At one point, the commentator said the Panthers' fourth line is on now. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? Fourth line.
So there's 4 lines. So
on
a bench. No, so on game day on a team there's 20 players. Okay,
right.
So you got a goalie and you have 5 on ice players.
Okay.
You usually have 2 wingers, 2 defenders, and a centre who will take the face-offs.
Yeah.
The fourth line is the first line will typically start a game. Go to second line.
It's
third
like
line,
the
fourth line.
The starting lineup.
Yes.
Your second line. Okay, right.
Naturally, the fourth line and even the third line, they're not going to get as much ice time.
No.
Because once it's rolled around, the first line is ready to go back out. So it's typical for a fourth line to stay out there for 60 seconds and then
just kind of
and then they'll start filtering off.
Oh, okay.
It's just to get them on, just to get some fresh legs
on.
Are
they likely to be sort of rookies or maybe older?
Yeah. Players that they've called up from their affiliate team a lot of the time, because players get sent up and down, which I'm not going to get into right now.
I'm guessing affiliate teams, are they like the lower league where the feeder? Yeah.
So it's the AHL.
Okay.
We'll do a full breakdown on getting sent up and down. But yeah, the fourth line, there's 4 lines. You've got all of your specialty teams if you're on the power play, shorthanded.
That is what as well. So special teams, so are they could be from any line, or are they?
Yeah, so that's a mix and match. So your coach is going to go to, okay, I need these 5 guys out there, because you're going to be against 4 players on the other team.
Okay.
You've got 2 minutes on the power play.
Power play, yeah.
So from what he's seen in training, he'll get his best guys out there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think how I could relate that to football.
I suppose you can't, because they don't have that roll on, roll off substitutions, do they? Like you get 3. Well, I think you get 5 now in the Premier League. 5 subs a game. Once you've used your 5, that's it. Yeah. So it is cool in a way. It does, because the last thing it needs is more stoppages. Mm-hmm. So I think it's good that it's just quickly roll on, roll off.
For stoppages, if I just say, I really don't think it's that bad. I think to the untrained eye, to the rookie, it does look like, oh my God, like we can't get any kind of flow in this game.
It felt a lot less than the NFL does.
Oh,
but it's not something I'm used to, and I'm sure obviously the more I go on, the more I enjoy it, the more I'm into it. I won't even notice by the end of it, fingers crossed.
The beauty of, I don't know how you watched it, whether it was on a tablet or what, but recently in the UK we've switched from NHL TV to, it came onto DAZN.
DAZN, yeah.
I watched it.
The Saudi-backed
conglomerate, yeah. I watched it on Xbox, and I have never ever found it so easy to just flick the analog a couple of times and then I'm back in the game. So once a whistle will go and it'll cut to commercial break. Yeah, before you know it, you're back into the game.
You're watching it on the replay? Yeah, I watched it. It was on my phone, but I cast it to my telly. So it gives me the rewind 10 seconds option, but not the fast forward, unless you're actually watching it on your phone.
Right.
So, I mean, if anyone from DAZN is listening, sort that out.
Sort your head out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot better system. Going from, you asked me what kind of got me into hockey. Back when I was watching it, like when I was in my earlier years, it was tough to find any channel because it got taken off Channel 5. Then it was on the North American Sports Network. It came off there, and it just felt like, as a hockey fan, you were constantly scrambling from channel to channel to see which providers had picked it up. So there were quite a few years where I went without watching hockey. I don't want to come across as if I've watched every game of every season. For the most part, since I've been an adult earning my own money, I've been able to pay for the subscription on and get certain channels. But that's just something that like brings you along as well, though. You know, when you're that invested into watching something, you know, it just makes the passion even greater.
But this is what I need, because obviously, like I said, I've fell out of love with football. It's just I don't get that same thrill from it I used to. So I need something like that, and it would be nice. 'Cause obviously, at the moment, I don't have an attachment to a certain team, so I can kind of appreciate it as a whole.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually, if I do sort of pick a team, that'll probably ruin it for me. But I'll be too far gone by then. Yeah. I'll be in. I'll be invested. But one last thing about sort of hockey in general, they don't have a VAR system. Like, a VAR in football is video assistant referee, so they'll replay a play to check if the refs made the right decision. I couldn't see anything during that game, but I didn't notice on the Panthers' last goal, the one where he kind of it's almost like a baseball bunt, wasn't it?
Make sure it hadn't gone off his hand.
Is that what they? So they do check that back.
They
okay,
can. And it's typical. I don't know.
Because I thought it was used very. Obviously, that's the only time I noticed it, so it must be used quite sparingly, and they did use it quite well.
Yeah. Right. So the most recent game that happened in was Tampa Bay versus Florida, which is obviously the Florida rivalry. I think it was Tampa. They had it was Florida. So they had a goal on the clock for, I think it was around 5 minutes, and then it got taken off once it had all been reviewed.
So they carry on playing, and then it can go back. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's better, because like it just keeps plays going.
It's rare that you would see that. But because you do get a lot of players who either, as long as that puck goes in the net, they don't care how it gets in. They'll kick it. It just, anyway.
They do seem to be doing things to keep it flowing as much as they can. I did notice like midway through the game, they were like, I can't remember if it was in between periods or maybe just a stoppage, they would like interview a player. They was just sat on the bench, while the game's happening. It's like they are trying to keep the broadcast flowing. So I do.
Yeah,
I just can't imagine them doing that in football.
Yeah, no, I mean they never would. I'm guessing a football player's not going to run off.
I think he was on the bench.
Yeah,
but.
It was Foligno.
Yeah.
It was Foligno.
Was it right?
It was Nick Foligno who was having the interview. Yeah, I figured that'd make its way into your notes.
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen. What is ultra typical is at the end of the intermission, they'll go to a player and they'll interview him.
Yeah.
Mid. I'm not sure how common that is in football. I can't imagine.
I've not remember it ever happening a kind of midway through a match.
Yeah, because they want to go in for the team
well, that's what I mean. Or they've either been sent off or subbed off, and they'll just sit on the bench. But it's glitz and glamour. It's fast paced. It's American broadcasting as well, Canadian broadcasting. Like I do love that style. It's
I do. I even enjoy sometimes going to the adverts.
Yeah, because just see some of the stuff.
They're just so different, and
liberty.
As soon as we get to a Canadian game with a Canadian broadcast, they were like political party adverts, like every other advert, and it's just so funny because they all just bash the other political party, and it's I'm not sure how that'd fly in the UK.
No, well, they do have that, but only really sort of around election time, don't they? It wouldn't just be.
But they usually like daytime stuff, whereas this isn't a prime time slot, like in the middle of a hockey game.
No.
So I do enjoy that.
Yeah, it's good. So next week, what was the match we were going to look at next week?
So next week, it was going to be Tampa Bay versus Washington.
Right, that's the Capitals?
Yeah, Washington Capitals.
Yeah. Why have you chose?
I am so intrigued to see Tampa Bay this season. I have them down as winning the Eastern Conference this year. Something that we didn't actually get to. If I could just preface a little bit.
Yeah, go through it.
So in the last 6 seasons, either Florida or Tampa Bay have either won the cup or been in the final.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a Florida
It's
domination
huge.
at the moment. Yeah.
The reason for that is the tax breaks that they get in Florida, so they're pulling in all of the right players.
Right,
Everybody wants to play there because I believe they're exempt from state tax.
I do actually remember when on my honeymoon 2 years actually, I was in Miami and we were on a tour, and I do remember them saying something about the state taxes.
Yeah.
There's something because I think as well they have different taxes in different cities, even within the same state. It can be different. It's really confusing system, but I think Miami, which is where the Panthers are based,
that would be.
There's something about their tax system that does. It's attractive, put it that way.
Definitely, yeah. A lot of the big players will go there like they need any more money.
No.
It feels like a pile-on team at the minute. Yeah. But
speaking of the money, I did see in the contract, so they had a list of the new contracts that the Panthers players had, and a lot of them are contracted to like 2033, like 8-9 year contract, and it's like 46-50 million.
Yeah.
I was surprised that they earned that much, because that is more than... I always assumed Premier League footballers would be the highest paid in the world, but that's massive. For something that's probably, what would you say, the fourth most popular sport over there?
The money's there, though.
The sports.
Yeah.
Sports is more to them, though, isn't it, than it is here?
The money's there because, remember, hockey... It's not a rich person's game, but for kids who are starting out in hockey, the parents getting them all the equipment. It ain't cheap.
You can't really go and... I suppose you can stick some roller blades on.
It's not getting a pair of footy boots and a pair of shin pads and going playing.
Yeah. Even that in like football in the UK, you don't even need shin pads, and that is literally two jumpers on a field and a ball.
Yeah.
So I get but hockey, obviously, you'd imagine. You can't just nip down, unless you live on a frozen lake.
Yeah.
You can't just nip down, just go and have a skate, knock that around. We didn't do that in PE.
Well, that's how Gretzky grew up. He had a lake in his back... Not a lake, sorry, but he had a rink in his back garden.
Oh, okay.
So he was
he did come from a bit of money.
Yeah, he was
trained.
His No, he actually didn't even come from money. It's crazy, because if you see... I read his autobiography, and there's pictures of the house he grew up in. It's really tough to kind of describe, but no, I wouldn't say he came from money. But, I mean... who has a rink in the back garden?
Yeah, no.
It is pretty crazy.
Yeah. I think I might have seen that, actually. I'm sure maybe you sent me a picture of it. It does ring a bell now, or maybe I've seen it on a film where he's just doing laps of it or whatever.
Yeah.
One last thing, actually, I forgot to mention about the Blackhawks game. Right at the end, the Blackhawks goalie, Knight, he just fucked off.
No.
He just fucked off the ring. And it's like, what was he doing?
It wasn't that he'd had enough.
Right.
He might have. So they struggled getting him out of net at first. So what the Blackhawks wanted to do was pull the goalie, get an extra man on.
Oh, so you can... Now I'm saying it, I think I do recall this happening in one of the Manchester Storm games.
Yeah, it's happened. It's happened a few times.
You can substitute your goalie for another outfielder.
Typically, it's within the last 2 minutes, 90 seconds.
It's all...
In hockey, there's no draws. If you're gonna lose 3-2, you might as well lose 4-2. You might as well just go for it.
Yeah.
Knight did struggle coming on, and this is the inexperience of the Blackhawks players. They just had nobody wanted to handle the puck. Nobody wanted to clear it so Knight could come out of net. No one wanted to be the reason that an empty netter went in. And I think the inexperience generally did show within the third period, which I feared might happen.
Yeah.
But especially within the last 5 minutes, they were like a rookie in a strip club. You know, they got played by experience.
Yeah. Well, on that note,
are we going?
So I think we'll call it a day there. If you want to send in, especially for new fans like myself, come on this journey with us. You can get in touch with us on our Instagram. It's therookieseasonpod. That's it. Don't forget the rookieseasonpod. And you can email us at therookieseasonpod@gmail.com. Any questions you might have for Steve, something about, maybe not the rules itself, obviously there's a million YouTube videos out there, I mean, maybe something you've watched in a match, you just don't quite understand why they do that, or why the fans do certain things, or anything about the sport, or if you're an experienced fan, send in some teams for me to watch, maybe some classic matches, give me the hockey education. But
and remember as well, I just want to say engagement is key. Eventually, we do want to start putting polls on what games we're going to watch. We want a little bit of interaction. So
I would say, just on that note, would that end up being the same teams recurring? For example, if we put a poll out, what match do you want to talk about the Premier League?
Well, for the one guy that's going to vote, yeah, probably.
yeah.
It'll be me.
yeah. So, yet again, we're looking at the Canucks. I
just didn't see it coming.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll do that. And eventually as well, I'd like to get sort of maybe some guests on who, fans of the different teams and, talk about the matches that we've just watched. But yeah, if you're a supporter of any of the teams, get in touch. If you want to come on, tell me why I should support your team. Give me the benefits.
We'd love to have you, and I'd love to tell you why you are wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you're a Canucks fan.
Yeah. Shout out Canucks fans. Right, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, and we'll be back again next. So the match is on Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
So we'll get it recorded on Wednesday. We're back again next Thursday. See you later.
Awesome. Bye-bye.